And that's what your culture does. It reminds you of that. And it's not wrong. If it's not incorrect for you to have an earring in your ear, if it's not incorrect for you to have a tattoo branded on your body for life, if it's not wrong for you to have a chain hanging from your neck or a scully cap or a watch, those are your elements of time and reminders of who you are. So who's to say that when culture starts to transform itself that you can't start to use some other elements now? Make a list of what they are. Not everybody's a collector. That's why I love people that deal with antiques and stuff like that. Go to somebody's house, somebody with an African house. You'd be amazed at what you see. Statues, water, books, shells, candles, artifacts, elements. And it's not wrong of you. And trust me, you're not too young to do that work. I don't think you are. If you have $50, why not take 5 of it and go invest it in something that's just cultural and African for yourself? And even if nobody knows where it is, it could just be over there in the corner behind the door. And then you just go one day, you're over here at the crossroads, and you're like this. You go over there, and you're just like this. Increasingly lawful. Increasingly lawful and ever peaceful. You need building blocks for your culture, and it doesn't have to be confusing. Item number 5, Brother Matt, you may need to come over here now. Still with me? Can't wait to have you teach us back something.
I'm after you erase your Dinko symbol.
You can erase the Dinkrahene, you can erase the Ankh, you can erase... You got these 2 special words for today, right? What are these 2 words? I can't hear you. What are these 2 words? And when I said that, what was I talking about? What did I mean? When do you become increasingly lawful? According to today's lesson, when? It's a crossroads. What were you going to say, my brother? Thank you. Bless your heart. Number 5 now. And then we'll wrap it. There's 2 more items. You still with me, Brother Mike? Can I keep going? All right now. We're going to do item number 5, which is going to be the indicators. You need, write that down, Brother Matt. The indicators of its effectiveness. Big words, not really. I don't think so. Indicators of effectiveness. What's effectiveness? Your culture's effectiveness. I'm just going to give you 3, because I know we've been rolling real strong, and I appreciate that. The indicators of your culture's effectiveness. And class, what is an indicator? Somebody give me just a real general, basic definition. What is an indicator? What does it mean? Say it again, nice and loud for the people. It tells you things. What else? Somebody else help our brother out. When we're talking about an indicator, what are we talking about?
Too many of the same people. We need some different people.
What's the indicator, class? Somebody.
Come on, raise your hand.
Not my brother with my favorite color on. Thank you very much. My jacket's that color. But what is an indicator, somebody?
I'll start picking on people.
Anybody an indicator? It's taken from the root word to indicate. Say it again. A sign. Okay, very good. So now we're going to look at the indicators of effectiveness of your culture. Somebody tell me the most basic definition of when we talk about effectiveness and to be effective or an effect. What does that mean? The most basic definition. What does effectiveness mean? Somebody that hasn't spoken yet. My brother. But I can't hear you. Being productive, right? So I like that.
Yeah.
Bless your heart. Let's talk about that real quick. We're just going to get African real quick in the room. Can we do that real fast? Is that all right with y'all? Great. Try to keep my energy up for the classroom, for the people. Number 1, Brother Matt, which will be item A. Let's go back to urges. Remember we use this word over here, right? For some people, the way that you can tell the indicator of your the indication of effectiveness of your culture, item number 1, is there is an urge to rename. Write that down. There is an urge to rename. Sister I, what are you talking about? What do you mean the urge to rename? What is that supposed to mean? Well, let me explain that to you. For some people, they've been born with one name that their mama and their father gave to them. And then after they go through all of these lovely things over here, they went through every single item that you can imagine over here. Now there's an urge to rename yourself. What's in a name? Your name is the one thing you will hear the most in life. And when your name is spoken, it will either bring smiles and joy. Where's my happy face? There it is. It's either going to bring a whole bunch of these or a whole bunch of the other things, which I hope there isn't too many of those. But you can tell that there's effectiveness in your culture where there's an urge to rename. Some of us refer to our communities as the hood. Others refer to it as the community. Some people refer to black people as N's and B's. Other people refer to them as brothers and sisters. Some people say that, I'm going to school, the building. Where other people say, I'm going to the school and the building, which is where I go and get my education. So when you start looking at the indicators of how your culture is effective, you start to rename things now. Some people call South Africa, but other people call it Azania. Because there's an urge inside of you now to rename. My brother.
I just wanted to point out, in hip-hop, we do that all the time. Everybody knows that, KRS-One's, I think his name is what? Clarence?
Chris Parker.
Chris Parker called himself KRS-One. Knowledge reigns supreme over nearly everyone. That was his name. There's all types of people who just regular names, but when they get to hip-hop, my name is something else. My poet name, when I started to do poetry in college because I had no time to draw anymore, my poet name became So Real. Why? Because that was just the way I did poetry. It was the way I do teaching. It's the way I pretty much do anything. Remember, it's your nature, something that's a part of you. It's your thumbprint. It's your name. So, what is your nature? What is your name? You were named something, but what is your name? Only you know that. Something to think about, that's all.
So, here's going to be urge number B. Letter B. You can tell the indicator of effectiveness in your culture is that when you start to abstain, write it down. That will be ABSTAIN. Abstain. Some of all the brilliant scholars in the room, when I use the word abstain, since I'm dealing with such brilliant people, what am I talking about? What does the word abstain mean? Who said it? Say it so people can hear you. Are we in agreement with that definition? Does to abstain mean to stay away? Yes or no? Do we support his response? Yes, we do. Great. And I agree with that as well. Because now there's an urge to abstain, meaning places that we may have been one too many times over here, when we start to look at the hardships that we sometimes go through, sometimes it's as simple as saying, I'm going to abstain from that. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to say that anymore. I'm not going to think that anymore. I'm not going to feel that anymore. So help me God. And if I can't do it by myself, then thank God for my imams, priests, priestesses, sages, prophets, leaders, teachers, counselors, healers, nurses, doctors, scientists, engineers, and anybody else that you can wrap your mind around. Because sometimes you're trying really, really hard to abstain from the thing that keeps bringing you here, but you just don't know how. But fortunately, there's people that work on themselves hard enough to hold you on your behalf when you can't do it for yourself, is the thing. You got to love the adults in your life. They're not just there to be your buddies. That's my teacher right there with the white on. She taught me how to teach hundreds of children in this city of Pittsburgh. They're not just here to kick it with you. They're here to guide you through a process and show you certain things. So when you cannot, I see you, Brother Matt. But when you cannot abstain on your own, there's other people that the cultural environment provides for you so that you can get through these things on your own. And when you're not going here and it's the opposite of this and you're in a really great place, then go and help 50 other people. Because remember at the beginning, does anybody remember before the words went away? Your culture is either going to do one thing or another thing. What was it? It's either going to do A or B. Who remembers? My brother. You're either going to be like, you'll be like, yeah, I'm ready. Who needs help? Where? I need it. She's here in this room right now just because she's my sister. She said, what you doing today, sis? I said, I'm going to spend some time with the youth. I said, will you come just so when I look out and see your face, that'll inspire me a little bit? She said, okay. And there she is sitting there. Bless her heart.
Real quick, in this culture, you are taught that the only person that is going to help you is you. Whether we drive it home in movies, where it is the sole hero, where one person doesn't depend on anybody, and he goes in and he saves the day. And all these other things that are supposed to add into your life to help you to stay lawful, to avoid friendship and imams and your friends and your family. All these other things are downplayed. Whether it's on the news, where my community looks like this on the news, I can't trust anybody. I'm watching a reality TV show for 5 years of my life, and now every single male and every single female I see is somebody I just cannot trust at all. The main character in this movie or this whatever has a hard time with their parents, and my parents, they kind of don't understand me either, so I'm drawn away from them. It is an individualistic culture. This culture is here to sap you of your own culture for its own personal profit, gain, and benefit. So you will either lean on the attributes of your culture, which has sustained humanity since the beginning of time, or B, you will become suspect and subject to a culture that is below and not even worthy of humanity.
Culture. But I've been feeling left out. I've been feeling like when they have that black talk, that they're not talking about me. That they're talking about those people over there that sell bean pies and wear suits and bow ties and wear big dreadlocks and jewelry and this. No. Could we just stop that misconception forever now, please? Now that we've had this conversation, if it meant anything to you. There's no difference between you and them. Some are investing a little more time than you are. That's the only difference. Some people have jumped from item number 1 to item number 2 to item number 3, all the way over here, and now they're willing to sacrifice it all for you. Whether it's a Saturday at 12 o'clock or Friday night at 5 in the morning. And here's where I rest and where I close. And Brother Matt, why don't you erase item number 1, and I'm going to make one more point. Brother Matt, am I still good on, Mike, am I still good with time? Can I continue? Because I'm not done, my brother. But I'd like to finish, though. Thank you very much. Item number 6 or 5 or wherever we are. Can I give you my favorite part of the lesson now? Yes or no? That was so soft. Can I give you my favorite part of the lesson? All right, good. So this next item, the last part, is going to be your cultural, internal, big words, right, Sister I? Great, because I got one more. Your cultural, internal, navigational system. Your own internal cultural GPS. For free. We love it. Internal navigational system. And here's what it looks like. I want you to think about that for a second. When I use the word internal, somebody from the high school community, tell me, what does internal mean? When we're using the word internal, what's the most basic definition that's coming to mind? My brother right here and right here afterwards. Inside, and what about my sisters in the room? When we're talking about internal, what are we talking about? For any of the girls in the room. When we say internal, what does that mean? Anything extra to add? During this class today and during this session, I want you to put a star by it or put some type of a check mark, a smiley face, whatever it is that you do, make a note of it, because it's just, when it's your turn to come back up and bring it back to the class, I want you to speak from a place of what it is that you feel comfortable with and what it is that you connect with.